AQBS is revolutionizing hair loss restoration before your eyes, and I am going to facilitate it. Signing off, Diana.
Alright, you guys are seeing the Capillus Codex, the home screen. You'll hear Diana speaking in the background, Diana of the DIA, right? And she's just going to introduce you to what's going on with the Capillus Codex and what it's for. And basically the Codex itself is a PDF that covers the theories and the restoration. And the DIAG is more or less like the survey diagnostic, okay? And when you go inside of the doctrine, she'll talk about how what it covers pretty much. She's going to cover that it's the restoration theory, it's the restoration equation, it's the general theory of reversitivity, it's the scalp spectrum theory. All of these things are placed inside the Capillus Codex to give us a framework of what we're working from. And this same framework has been placed inside of the DIAG in an algorithmic perspective, okay? Now, as far as the Capillus Codex, it is mainly my ideas of hair loss, and it is AQBS's theories of how you're going to go hair loss undetectable, okay? So a couple of features on here is the about the codex. It kind of says the same thing I'm saying. Integrative sequencer of all hair loss modalities. What am I saying there? I'm going to try to take care of all of the tools that we utilize with all the topicals that we use, from synthetics to herbs. And I'm going to attempt to sequence those so that people could choose the modalities that they need. Within the PDF as well, this is 28 of 64 pages. You can see in the preview. And it'll cover things like you see, hair loss is scalp compromise, and it's about reversal, it's subtraction, not addition. These are things some of you guys have heard before, okay? Now, in order to get the full 64 pages, you just hit this little button here, download full codex, put your name, your email address, and I'll send you a copy and the future copies as it's updated. Right now, 64 pages. My suspicion is it's probably going to get up to about 220 pages, hopefully, and it stops there, right? So pretty cool. There's something else on here that's not hidden, but it's kind of a way to not take up so much space. It's the open source codex contribution form. This is when you find information and you can kind of say, look, man, I think that you should really check out this white paper or this research paper or this product or this topical. And you can tell me if you want to do it anonymous, or you can just say, well, you know, put my name and give me credit if you do include this in the Capillus Codex. Right now, it doesn't have a lot of this in there, but it will as it becomes more complex. And corrections, additions, clarifications. And it also has security, so there won't be a lot of trolling, because I'm getting some trolling on the site, and I'm also getting some on the Back to the Barber site, which is to be expected. These cards are to connect to the Back to the Barber website. They're just a link. Now on the footer, you'll see the Capillus Codex is published here. So if you get it somewhere else, more than likely it's not going to be updated. It's not going to be right, okay? Just facts, right? So 100 days until the next one comes out around March or April. This shows you the email address you can send information to, and tells you exactly what we're doing in 2026, obviously. So we're a little ahead of the time. So that's pretty much it. You can go there. You guys could take a look at the Back to the Bar website too. So now we're going to go back to the home site. You see the little matrix rain, right? And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the archivist. So it's me there. I don't want to be so much on the site too much, but it shows my website and my YouTube page. That's my main stuff, right? It shows that. You know, a little bit about the archivist. You guys will know me as the hair loss champion. Okay. All right, so going into the DIAC, and that's what Diana was named after. This is a portion where I felt like the codex was good, but it wasn't. It's theory, but how can we put the theory into practice? So, because so many of you have different Norwood states, different ages, different desires, different countries, and different type of people that have different access to different tools and products, you can't possibly have a sequence that is just like somebody else's, even if you had the same Norwood pattern. And that's what we're starting to see. So one of the things that I wanted to do is to create a situation where we could get to the same path. We want to go from Norwood 7 to Norwood 6. How can we do that? By using sequences. But some of the other features here is that there is a handle. I don't care about your name because that's your private name. Try to use as little PII as possible. The only PII I do use is the email address. And security question helps you to retrieve your information. Notice age ranges. So I really don't know. I know you're a male or female, right? And I know your age ranges. That's pretty much it, right? So this is how you retrieve your codex if you lose it or something like that. I need to work on the viewpoint of that. It's kind of low. It's lighter than what I'd like it to be. Okay, so if you lost it, here you go. Just trying to find that. Activation code, AC, you'll hear a lot about that. Your identity handle, and you'll put your email address in here. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay, testing 1 2 3. I don't think I put CM, and I'm going to just put something here. Limo. Age range 36 to 45. Let's just say male. Information is filled out there. And then I'm going to hit I understand. And this is just saying, look, this is not, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a trichologist, or I'm not any of that, man. I'm just trying to share my information with as much men as possible. And, you know, trying to do my bit of contributing. So these are the avatars. These are, who are you? Now, what this helps with to see if there are Norwood patterns that are ethnicity or racially based. I don't see that at all, to be honest with you. But this is also helps me with figuring out which languages to go with. So if I have more Latin American, more Germanic, then I know that the languages that I need to include on this site. I'm still working on this part. It's the stages. So I'm just going to go with Hiroshi, and I'm going to go stage 3. Okay. So these questions here, as you guys look at me, and I'm just kind of doing some basic ones. Here's the thing. They look very simple, but they are not. Each of these questions have about 4 aspects to them. So when you hit the word stable and not slow, it changes the algorithm behind you. And there are about 18 to 20. By the time 3.4 comes out, it'll be more than about 23 algorithmic math equations behind all of these different ones. So it looks simple, but it is very, very complex. I could tell you that. And so you're going to be picking your stages. So if you choose warm patches over tenderness, that's a totally different sequence as if someone picked itching and burning, right? So just keep in mind, you want these to be as realistic as possible. Slightly mobile versus mobile is totally different. Notice the point systems. Top, you know. Okay, so we'll choose those. Notice a red asterisk, so you have to choose something. Does your scalp get cold easily? If you hit yes on that, believe me, that's a huge one, man. It's a huge one, right? So next, have to choose everything, and then it's going to say, what do you use? Do you use a derma roller? Do you use a microcurrent? And I'm going to add a lot more to this, but these are just, again, this is 3.0, just kind of starting out, making sure the sequences are correct. And what do you use? Some people will not use the HT inhibitors. Some people will not use minoxidil. Some people don't care about using herbs or anything like that. So I'm saying, what do you use so we can know how to move you forward? Is it 4 days a week? Is it 1 day a week? Because that matters too. Are you going to maintain what you have? Do you want to maximize what you have? Or do you want to manufacture? Manufacturing means it's going to be a long way, right? Because you're taking the skin to terminal hairs. And are you, you want to use what you have, or do you want to use a little bit of money? I need to know that so I can recommend you stuff. What's your restoration goal? Now, these two things also helps me to understand how to make the Capillus Codex site much better. So I'll hit next. Okay. So she's going to pop up and she's going to tell you pretty much what's going to occur next. Notice how she's talking and the little orb is up there as well too. About Diana too, she looks a little cartoonish right now, but she's going to be indistinguishable from a human, I think, in the next 6 months to a year. And I'll be getting her form correctly, but I'm just kind of playing around with her basic form right now. But believe me, she is going to be indistinguishable because we have those abilities now. So she's just telling you what's going to happen next when you hit the check mark and you generate your scalp health profile, which is the beginning of how you are going to be able to restore your hair loss. So I'll let her finish up. You can see the face slightly changing just a little bit. So we're gonna have to work through some of those things. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna hit the check mark and generate the scalp health profile. Yep. So it says it's completed. Notice how it shows the steel as the pattern analysis, and it showed the handle, and this shows like what's manageable, what you need to do next, like the snapshot, and all of this is going to be filled out greatly. It's going to be huge, maybe 3 pages of this stuff. It's kind of small now because I had to get the sequencing right for it to work effectively, and that's the biggest problem, is to make sure this thing aligns and the algorithm and the math behind it works out. So you'll see it say stuff like clear, release the frontal, repair, and guard. And these things mean what type of topicals and what type of tools you'll be using. And they're very simple right now, but believe me, once it gets in the near future, it will be really, really, really complicated, way more. So she's pretty much going to say thank you for coming to the site, tell you what your next options are. And it is to do a one-on-one with me, a consultation, right? And that's going to be something that consultation too, but the consultation will be more or less focused on the Capillus Codex and or your DAC. And also, if you notice, it shows the handle again. I don't know what your name is because I'm not really trying to sell you anything, but I am trying to help guide you to the tools and topicals that you need. Pattern analysis, again, the biomechanica, and the 5-layer descent. Many people know what that is. Okay. And as it goes down, you'll be able to see like an orange button that says upgrade to the personal restoration blueprint. Okay. Now, when she starts talking, this thing pops up. It just asks for feedback, right? Okay. But the personal restoration blueprint is not complete yet. That will be in 3.4. And a lot of this is going to look much different, much more filled out, and much more detailed for you all. Some people sent me a lot of questions, so now I knew what I have to fix. That AC code is very important too. You're going to need that. Okay. 10 to 12 pages. Scalp repair paste. It tells you, look, you need to do scalp repair paste. You need to do the DHT inhibitor if you're not taking some sort of DHT inhibiting, right? Well, it's pretty cool. And also said these are based on the Capillus Codex systems, which they are. There were slots that need to be filled, and I filled them. Here is the tool and topical. So you have the derma roller, you have the derma stamp, the derma pen, Baliantra tool. But look, you're missing the swimmer's cap, you're missing the gua sha. It's going to be a lot here, but I'm going to try to stick with the most important ones and show you the alternatives here. It's very important for me to do that. Okay, let me see what else I can. So if you hit the consultation page, it just goes to my Back to the Bar website, and 1 hour $50 right now. That's going to change very drastically in the near future, so you won't see that 50 too long. So why Diana? Why I guess pivot from Back to the Barber? Well, I'm not pivoting from Back to the Barber. Back to the Barber is my personal brand of topical, I call it instruments or products that are meant to help men restore their hair loss. And I found that in this journey that we were missing some key components, or the components were synthetic, so men who wanted to combine that with natural could get double for their money. So if you can use a synthetic stimulant and a herbal or natural stimulant, then there won't be any clash and you can get double for your money, right? But there's also some things that we're missing, such as the scalp repair paste, because you have to get rid of this second head, and things such as DHT, which is an alternative for men who wanted to take DHT inhibitors but wanted to be more natural, like saw palmetto and things of this nature. Okay, but why Diana? Well, as I stated, Diana's name comes from DIA, which is the diagnostic, and I figured that once the codex gets to 200 250 pages, humanly possible, you won't be able to remember every single thing. These sequences, to be quite honest with you, are very, very complicated and are deep. And when I saw some of this stuff based off of my theories and based off of the way that I was attempting to mix and match topicals with time, I call it the 3 T's. Again, there's a lot in here, but the 3 T's: time, topicals, and tools. In that case, you have to make sure that everything aligns based off of what Norwood pattern do you have, how long you've had it. And those questions, again, seem simplistic, but they have 4 aspects to them that allows the algorithm to know exactly what sequence to put out for you. So if 1 million men took the personal restoration blueprint, none of them will be the same. You guys will have to have the same exact questions. As a matter of fact, I know 3.4, there's another 11 questions added because the algorithm needed it for what we were trying to do. So she will be able to, as far as Diana is concerned, she will be able to consult men and remember 250 pages of the Capillus Codex. She will be able to understand the algorithm and the math behind it. She will be able to go into depth about the different theories and remember it word for word. And I've seen some amazing stuff, to be quite honest with you. I've seen some amazing stuff. So it's not a mascot as much as an envoy, as much as my voice in a different form. And she can, talk to a man in French at 5 o'clock in the morning and talk to a guy from Australia and a guy from Ghana at the same exact time, where I can't do that. And it also helps to, as I grow the Capillus Codex and as I grow back to the barber, I get dozens of emails right now regarding sequences, regarding information. Imagine I only have 1.88 now subscribers on YouTube. What if that was 10,000 subscribers? My entire time would be answering emails, and I love the communication, but I can't do it effectively even at this state. And imagine sending out products and all these other things that I'm doing simultaneously by myself, right? So with that stated, she's a perfect representation of the direction I'm going in, which is scientific, futuristic. And the Capillus Codex is not at all Back to the Barber. Back to the Barber, again, is a boutique hair loss restoration brand focusing on topicals, and the Capillus Codex is the science of attempting to get all of these tools, topicals, and time together, sequence them so that when there's a new serum, then we test it, we can add it to the sequence where it fits at. If there's a new tool, we can add it there, right? And the equations will put it where it needs to be put at. So instead of saying, oh, I just use this, or maybe I should use that, you will be able to say, well, if you have the second head, the best tools to use is this, this, and this. If another tool comes out, it just changes the primary tool that you use. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So if there's 8 tools that you use and 3 of them become defunct or another better pattern comes out, guess what? You replace those and the sequence stays the same, or it edits a little bit. So I figured that these sequences will be editable and they will change over time. Definitely change over time. That's the whole point. Why would they stay the same when there's a new serum or topical, right? And when you look at that, the amount of sequences you can have, another a fancy word of saying regimen and protocol, there is not one person that says they can use the same one. That's what's wrong with Reddit. That's the problem with YouTube. And these are not problems as much as these are just characteristics of where we are now. We're all trying to do the same thing, but we all have different needs. We all have different severity levels, different ages, diets, and all those things. The best way to do it is to take a current state of where you are, the biomechanical profile, and then placing that against your Norwood pattern, possibly, and then taking that against the two's Topicals Times. Now, again, that's 6 factors. It's about 25. It's about 25. I'm gonna be honest with you. And then you got to think of things such as the general theory of reversitivity. You got to think of the scalp spectrum, alpha and omega scalp. You got to think of the 5 layers of descent, the Baldwin ratio, all these things. Hair loss is about subtraction, not addition. I can honestly say there's an equation for all of that in there. Okay. But yes, in the future, this is going to be way more complicated, way more smoother. She is going to look realistic, photorealistic. She won't look like the cartoon she is now. And you will not be able to tell her from a human. And that's the plan. So you guys stick with me, try to understand the direction I'm going in for the Capillus Codex, which it treats back to the barber as a vendor, which is different, right? Even that's why I call myself the archivist. I try to separate my mind from back to the barber to the Capillus Codex, because you can't reverse hair loss using a topical. You need a sequence of things, right? So the Capillus Codex will be the answer for that, hands down. Okay, so stick with me and have patience. A lot of you say, well, you said this, what about this, and what about that? It's because of this particular problem that they have never solved till now. Okay, so I would say this: I appreciate you guys reaching out to me in email, in comments. Just be patient with me, and thanks for buying the products, the consultations. I love those, man. It helps me to have enough resources to build out, so it is much appreciated. But iron sharpens iron, and we only have each other. And remember, if I can do it, you all can do it too. Let's get you back to the barber.